Liam Paro defeats Lewis Crocker by unanimous decision 115-113 on all three scorecards. An interesting one. I think you can have 7-5 either way. I think it was a great fight, a good, interesting clash of styles as well. But yeah, look, I've seen many people saying it's a controversial one. Many people saying that because it was in Australia, Paro got given the decision. But it's like, I think it was a very close fight. I think you can have it either way. That's how I see it. I don't think you can complain about Paro winning. I don't think you can complain about Crocker winning. But yeah, Paro got the nods. You knew, a close fight on the scorecards was always going to go to the Australian, without a doubt it was. But I think Crocker was very good at, his late start was good, but arguably it cost him, to be honest. But then again, it's like, what do you favour? Do you favour that volume or do you favour that power? And, professional judges can see it either way, that it really does vary on opinions on what people think of that. I mean, if you look at both guys' faces at the end, Crocker really badly got to Paro. Two black eyes that Paro got, and Crocker didn't really have a mark on him. So, Crocker's power was clearly getting to Paro. And let's be real here, Crocker was landing the way more eye-catching shots throughout, but Liam Paro was much more busier. So it just depends on what you like. And I do think as well it does depend on the amount of power punches that Crocker was throwing. And whenever Crocker did land on Paro, it had an effect on him. But whether he threw enough big shots, it's early on is what I'm saying. That's questionable. But later on, rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12 were clear for Crocker. Easily Crocker won those last 4 rounds. Then you can have two in the middle for Crocker and possibly one of the early ones as well if you do favour the power. But I think for Paro, again, he worked well, he moved well. I thought he was good behind that jab. He was, good at getting Crocker to walk onto those shots early on. And I feel like Paro's body work was good. He was very good at targeting the body early on, and to be fair, kept it on throughout the rest of the fight. But I mean, if you look at how the fight was ending, though, like Paro was getting lit up late on. That's what was happening, and I do feel like that's why there's a lot of controversy around it because, again, Paro getting lit up, the power clearly got to him. Clearly got to him. And I think, there was some more sneaky power shots from Crocker than what people thought there were. But if we look at it again, Crocker's just, and I did say it in my stream I did yesterday about before this fight, it's volume that costs Crocker, and that's probably what did cost him the fight. He doesn't throw enough early on, and that is what cost him fights. That's what, even though he won that second Donovan fight, that's what cost him. Well, even though he won, that's why. Well, it didn't cost him because he won, but that's why people say it was so controversial because Crocker wasn't doing anything. And then again, we look at the first fight with Donovan. It's like when Crocker throws, these guys don't really want to exchange with him. No one really wants to exchange with Crocker. Donovan, whenever Crocker threw against Donovan, Donovan didn't want to exchange with him. When Crocker was throwing some big shots and bunches, Paro didn't want to throw back at him. You're just defending against him because he has that explosive power. That's what Crocker has, and that's why he's dangerous. And we look at that first fight with Donovan, it's like Crocker didn't do anything. That's what was costing him, but obviously got the win by disqualification. But it's like, yeah, well, when Crocker's throwing, these guys don't want anything to do with him, and that's what happened. That's what showed there. But he just wasn't doing enough a lot of the time. Paro was going to be able to keep him off with the jab, landing quick shots to the body, and a lot of the time, Paro was just favouring those quick shots. Paro, a big thing with him, like Paro's got power, but you don't always look for it. And again, that's something that we saw in that fight. Again, he wasn't looking for power because he didn't want to exchange with Crocker. He was looking to get those big shots in, get out of there, move, use those southpaw angles well. And that's what Paro was doing well, start to the mid rounds. That's what was really working for him. But I think there was no all-out adjustments from Paro throughout. Crocker, built his way into it well, found out what Paro was doing, figured him out, and that's why he was starting to get to him. But look, either way, I don't think you can complain about the result either way. Paro got the nod, fair enough. if it was going to go the distance and it was close, which it did, Paro was always going to get the nod. In a country like Australia, you know, you're not gonna get it over there. Like it's always risky defending your belt in your first defense in another country, and that's what Crocker did. But yeah, but still though, either way, I think it was Crocker's best performance in a long time. I feel like Crocker's stock has gone up since winning. Crocker proved that he's at this level because, you know, you look at that Donovan fight, and you see many people saying, "Oh yeah, these two aren't well level, these two aren't at that level," but Lewis Crocker proved he's at that level. Lewis Crocker proved he is, and was a rightful world champion. That's what he proved in that fight. But it was just that late start, not being active enough. Because again, when I just feel like with Crocky, he's just waiting too much. Because when he does throw, he's bloody dangerous, and that's I think is the big problem for Crocker. And with Paro, it was good activity, landing those quick shots in there, and yeah, that's what won him the fight. Just that activity, that movement, and that's what the judges decided to favour. So there you go. There again, all judges had it close, and again, 7-5. I think is fair either way. All three had it to Paro, 115, 113. You know, it was that activity and that more variety of shots that we were seeing from Liam Paro, which probably got it for him. But then again, like there's controversy around it because of, you know, those constant power shots that Crocker was doing. You know, with Crocker, he wasn't, you know, there was no active jab. There, it was just, you know, with him landing power shots, getting in there, landing power shots. And every shot that Crocker landed, Power felt every shot that Crocker threw, you know, it had intention behind it. From Paro, it didn't. It was quick, you know, quick shots, nothing that really did much harm to Crocker, but, you know, it was scoring. But yeah, I see why people are annoyed at the result because, you know, there was more power, there was more intention there with what Crocker was doing compared to what Liam Paro was doing. Either way, I think it was a great fight. I think it's fair either way. You know, Paro was always going to get it in his country, and I do feel like that's why people are upset as well. But yeah, it is what it is. It was a good fight. Crocker's stock's gone up from it anyway, proving that he was at this level. So yeah, it's a good performance from him. It's a good performance from both guys, in my opinion. I see many people slagging off the tactics from both guys, but I think both guys look good. That's it. Anyway, thanks for watching.